by Gurubsar, Lankar Ida Baguz. What is Christmas? So says the teaching of Vishnu. A good listener only needs half a word, but a whole word followed by complete sentences is clearer and understandable for everyone. Christmas is originally a pagan celebration that found its origins in the lowlands and in a large part of Europe in various variations before the Christian era. Later in history, this Christmas thought spread to all parts of the world. The pagans, as they were once called by the malevolent Christian world domination, celebrated the solstice in terms of the fact that the days were getting longer again, and that spring was approaching. So the Germans celebrated Christmas at the time when the days were getting longer. This happened on the shortest day of the year, around December 21st, which was also called the Festival of Light, and that's where the Christmas tree comes from. This celebration is a time in winter when the Germans, who had not yet converted to the Christian faith, give to each other, and continue to live in peace. They celebrated the Festival of Lights, peace, and love, and to have a pleasant time with their loved ones. The Romans turned the pagan Christmas into a Christian festival when the Roman Empire under Emperor Constantine became a Christian empire. To appease the pagans, Christians retained this celebration. Over time, a different meaning was given to it, and the birth of Jesus was invented to make it easier for naive pagans to believe in the Christian God. Thus, the Catholic Church cunningly intertwined the Midwinter Festival, which is much older than the Christian celebration of Christmas, to instill their message of the birth of Christ in the heathen nations without robbing them of their own traditions. So, Christmas has absolutely nothing to do with the birth of Jesus or with God. The main symbol of Christmas is the Christmas tree, which also has nothing to do with the Christian festival. It wasn't that long ago that a Christmas tree was dismissed as pagan heresy. Stating that Christmas is equivalent to a day of peace is downright hypocritical when you hear this from the Bible Belt. After all, Christianity has caused by far the most wars and misery of all religions on this planet, closely followed by Islam and Judaism. The principles that Christmas stands for were not exclusive to Christian culture. The word Christmas originated from the word Christ, to Christianize, to make Christian. Those who do not wish to be associated with Christian practices will celebrate Christmas from the original tradition of reflection, togetherness, reconciliation, warmth, and sharing prosperity. Nowadays, a large part of humanity celebrates Christmas not strictly as a Christian holiday but eagerly seizes the opportunity to have a party or give it a festive meaning. Therefore, today's Christmas is actually an excuse for drinking and feasting, where one suddenly has to play peace on earth. Any reason for a celebration is seized because every opportunity to celebrate is considered important. For a lot of people, this is Christmas. Beyond that, it doesn't mean much to them. Since almost everyone has Christmas vacation, and there is usually nothing to do during Christmas, most stores are closed, it's cozy to have cheerful lights at home during those boring cold days. And because everyone is free, one can have a leisurely breakfast because there is no hurry here. That some people go to church or want to be baptized in the church or want to get married in the church and have a Christian funeral, is because many, like celebrating Christmas, do this out of tradition, behavior simulation, and not out of conviction that Christ was born. Even the birth date of Jesus is not correct because Christ, the son of Joseph the carpenter, was born in the spring according to world history. The fact is that nowhere in the Bible does it say that Christians must celebrate Christmas, and whether it is true that Jesus was born on December 25th, only Dios knows. Oddly enough, there is no believer who wants to celebrate Christmas in the spring. Then there is also the social pressure because those who do not celebrate Christmas on December 25th and 26th, whether they believe in God or not, cannot escape it, then they are stuck. On those days, many restrictions apply, and no one escapes. Everyone, wherever in the world, is confronted with the annual Christmas time. In general, everyone is literally and figuratively forced to reflect in a festive mood. Many people rightly think, who are we to turn down a celebration? We'll join in the atmosphere, enjoy good food, and pretend to be loving to each other. We don't care much about Jesus or God, and that's okay. We love the lights, the vacation, the atmosphere, and especially the free food if there is any. The Christmas lights, the media, the music in the stores, etc. Some European countries excel in celebrating Christian or Catholic holidays. However, not only in Europe, but in all countries that have experienced colonial domination and where the people were forcibly converted to Christianity through the whip, the Christian holidays are countless. Take, for example, Suriname, the Philippines, Brazil, Bolivia, the Dutch Antilles, Mexico, etc. In these places, the majority of the religion-traumatized population is more devout than the Pope. An interesting detail is that in some Western countries that originated from colonial domination plans, such as the Netherlands, most Christian holidays that are still widely celebrated in Germany and in third and fourth world countries have long been abolished. But the oppressed peoples in countries that were converted and dominated by colonialism in collaboration with the Church still unfortunately live in the Middle Ages today. They have been intentionally kept ignorant over the centuries so that they were dependent on their oppressors. When those subjugated countries eventually gained independence, the civilian population once again had to deal with a dictatorial and corrupt regime with great class differences, or a small elite minority had control over a large group of people who could barely meet their basic needs. Their leaders have learned from the colonialists and have also adopted their bad manners. Hence, the population there is still mentally imprisoned in the past, and to this day, with the church in the background, they are dominated by the rich and influential religious elite unity of their own race. So, the formerly oppressed are now the oppressors, and these modern-day oppressors, neocolonialists, love to look down on their own kind, following the example of their former cruel rulers. And today, on December 25th, their leaders hypocritically wish the people Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. The people, in turn, take an example from this and are therefore hypocritical among themselves. Example begets imitation. The only similarities that a believer and a non-believer share with Christmas are the atmosphere, being together, eating and being free, and decorating the house inside and out, and 2 days off, so they can gorge themselves shamelessly. After the pagan festival of lights was transformed into 2 Christian holidays in the previous century, Christmas days were converted into public holidays so that employers could give time off not only to their Catholic employees. Thus, the tradition of Christmas and days off originated. And if Christmas falls in the middle of the week, they also get 2 extra free and paid days when nothing is mandatory without obligations. And those who have to work on Christmas days receive an extra allowance. It's all nice to have. Modern-day Christmas means food, appearance, and decorating the whole house. It is no longer about faith but a commercial and popular festival with America as a leading trendsetter. In addition, this tendency to celebrate festive occasions is nowadays enthusiastically encouraged by commerce. There is, in a sense, social pressure to celebrate it because it is largely a commercial festival nowadays, like most festivals these days. Just look in clothing stores with glitter dresses for Christmas, look at the shopping carts of customers overflowing with food, flip through a magazine and behold the romantic Christmas offers from stores, companies, travel agencies, and hotels. You are bombarded with it, so to speak. Christmas has nothing to do with the birth of Jesus or the pagan festival of lights for trade and the business world. It is purely trade for the middle class because they earn well from it. They also gladly advise citizens to get into debt. The citizen only becomes poorer because they want to have what they often cannot afford. Therefore, the money that is intended for fixed monthly expenses, such as rent, is usually used for Christmas presents, or a few bills are simply not paid with the idea in their minds, next month we'll see, then we'll make an arrangement for repayment with the relevant authorities or individuals. Christmas has been made into more than just celebrating the Christmas story because Christmas is also a time when people allow themselves to get into debt. This is also partly because Santa Claus has joined in, and it has become super cozy with gifts from the so-called Santa Claus. That's why many people don't give up on Christmas now. Not because they are believers, but because they want to incur debts, buy expensive things for their loved ones, indulge themselves with costly gifts at the expense of their periodic obligations. Moreover, people completely overlook the fact that being happily together does not require Christmas to have a cozy dinner or be together with family. The peculiar thing about Christmas is that most people do not invite someone they don't like. They say it spoils the atmosphere, and Christmas is supposed to be something pleasant where people they don't like should not be present. This, while Christmas should be considered a symbol of peace on earth. In other words, Christmas, besides being about fun, feasting, and days off, is also the embodiment of hypocrisy. Additionally, the celebrating humanity should never forget that during colonial times, between Christmas and New Year, slaves were sold to slave traders, the middle class, and many were given away as Christmas gifts, tearing families apart. So, Christian holidays are not meant for black people at all. Yet, many black people are religious and celebrate Christmas according to Christian principles. This is mainly because they are kept backward by the majority of their leaders, so they have no sense of self-worth and know nothing about their history. Therefore, the Christian Christmas celebration rests like a curse on their shoulders, and they will not go beyond what is right in front of them. It is very sad to see how peoples and races whose ancestors were ruthlessly exterminated by faith are more devout than the Pope. They shamelessly share in the false Christmas feeling of Christianity as if Christmas was a tradition of their unfortunate ancestors who, under the instigation of the Catholic Church, were mercilessly persecuted, exploited, and slaughtered. So says the teaching of Vishnu. Anyone who howls with the wolves in the forest to be loved cannot be trusted at any time. We Vishnuists also celebrate peace on earth with all people on the mentioned holidays. In addition, we gladly collect the free Bibles, Qurans, and Jehovah's Witnesses watchtowers throughout the year. They are invaluable and very useful to us. This is because they are thick, and we enjoy long-lasting warmth at our campfire. After all, we can use their holy books in the winter period for the fireplace and to keep our surroundings warm during the cold winter days. And everything we do at Christmas has absolutely nothing to do with the Christian Christmas story. Our members have a beautiful Christmas tree at home during the Christmas days and celebrate Christmas out of sympathy for the original Christmas thought from ancient times, namely, peace on earth with all people. Nowadays, it is a trend that many white scholars create all sorts of nonsense on a scientific basis to make their exposition of the truth of their holy book credible. Some of them label the contradictions of the holy books as plagiarism. They regularly come up with all sorts of evidence to substantiate their opinion that they themselves have concocted. They claim to be neutral and blame their ancestors for all the atrocities of the past committed against humanity with the help of the Holy Book. But at the same time, these learned people are accelerating that same evil. Because their so-called scientific evidence is entirely based on the fabricated teachings of their malicious ancestors, whom they initially condemned. So, one lie supports another lie. Therefore, almost all so-called scientific books of the white majority belong in the trash. The humanity of this time needs to re-explain world problems from a fair perspective using recent scientific evidence. One should not try to strengthen a certain topic through outdated fairy tales belonging to the past because, for example, when it rains, it's not because the angels behind the clouds are peeing, but because rain or precipitation occurs in clouds due to the merging of floating cloud droplets or the melting of accumulated ice chunks and is therefore an atmospheric or natural phenomenon and is not a creation or wonder of God. I am fully of the opinion that Christmas should have been banned 2,000 years ago for the simple reason that people are nice to one or more family members for 2 days a year but can't stand or harm them for the rest of the year. The Christian elite class, like all other religions, reinvented the wheel and invented the Christmas days to exploit the people. They stole the idea, culture, customs, and elements of the Christmas celebration from the pagans, dressed them up in biblical fashion to earn big money from the gullible people every year. Wishing a Merry Christmas to fellow human beings because Jesus supposedly brought light among people and liberated them from their sins according to the Bible is nonsense. Worldwide, religious people are deceived by a false Christmas feeling, consciously or unconsciously walking over corpses, and plunging into a bottomless pit. The Christian Christmas is pure hypocrisy. In reality, the Christmas days mean 24 tormented hours of good behavior for devout Christmas celebrants worldwide. Because after Christmas, the Christmas spirit immediately fades for them, and the majority returns to antisocial behavior, behaving like beasts towards each other in everyday life. The most devout among the devout show no restraint on Christmas days when it comes to cruelty and inhumanity. This is clearly noticeable in the so-called biblical lands where, on Christmas days, they gradually throw bombs at each other and slaughter one another. Look at the Middle East, Israel, and Palestine. They try out the most terrible weapons on each other. They shoot each other at every street corner, showing no regard for the innocent, old or young, but happily continue killing each other. They begrudge each other life as a duty imposed by their dear Lord, Adonai, Allah, and JHWH towards each other. The biblical great God, Adonai, Allah never existed. Therefore, all the misery of then and now can only be attributed to the actions of the malicious religious humanity who interpret their so-called holy scriptures as their guide to the destruction of each other. And yet, one believer wishes their fellow believing brothers and sisters happy Christmas days, while Christmas is the ultimate thought of feigned piety, the summit of sadomasochism and a desire for destruction. In any case, the Christmas days as outlined by the Catholic Church are an illusion, given the gruesome Christian background of the Christmas celebration. The Vishnu Society believes that Christmas is indeed worth celebrating from the original thought, that summer is coming again, and the days are getting longer. Every inhabitant of Earth can celebrate this festival by the Christmas tree without believing in Jesus or God. The fuss about Jesus and God is a tall tale of the established religious order. During Christmas, the Vishnu Society watches the movies A Christmas Carol and Scrooge to keep us aware of the society around us, because in those movies, it's too good to be true. The Christian world finds A Christmas Carol and Scrooge a touching and beautiful film. These films evoke in them the inner intention to be generous, kind, and honest from now on. At the moment they watch the movie, they promise themselves to be more humane and strive for a fair distribution on this earth for the benefit of everyone, as in the movie. Unfortunately, many forget their promises the next day and fall back into their earlier antisocial behavior towards fellow human beings. In reality, these people have learned nothing from those films due to a lack of sense of duty and self-respect. Egoism prevails among the majority of humanity. We, the members of the Vishnu Society, celebrate peace on earth throughout the year. We celebrate Christmas from the original Christmas thought and not according to the Christian view. Furthermore, we regularly eat and drink together with people we consider our family, rather than going through the obligatory fuss every year. And because we mean well with all people on earth, we wish every living being a Merry Christmas and peace on earth based on the original Christmas thought. The Vishnu Society thanks everyone who wishes another a Christmas wish out of righteousness and according to the original Christmas tradition. So says the teaching of Vishnu. Those who consciously harm their fellow human beings, claiming forgiveness for their crimes through their belief in God, are, in fact, heartless and evil people for whom forgiveness should never apply, and for whom there should be absolutely no place among the living.